Okay, I want you to close your eyes for a second. Unless you're driving, please don't close your eyes. But picture a landscape.
Mm-hmm.
You're standing in the Black Hills of South Dakota. It's physically there. The dirt, the pines, the wind, it feels ancient. But in the source material we're looking at today, this landscape isn't just geology. It is, it's psychological.
Oh, absolutely. It's a landscape that is alive, sentient, and frankly, is in deep, agonizing pain.
Exactly. And imagine a river flowing through this landscape, but it's not water.
It's blood.
It's blood. And standing on the bank of this terrifying river, you have the historical figure of Sitting Bull. But he's not talking to a warrior, and he's not talking to a politician. He's talking to a boy made of black stone and starlight who is about to turn into a dragon.
It sounds like a fever dream, doesn't it? Or maybe a hallucination.
That sounds absolutely wild. But that's where we are going today.
What we are looking at is a really fascinating genre-bending piece of literature. It's titled The Mirror Mandala, Dragon of the Mountain Meadow Lake. It's an excerpt from a larger work called The FLOWERBORN by Terry Lausch. And you are so right to set the scene that way, because this text is just a massive collision of worlds.
And that's basically our mission for this deep dive.
Yeah.
We're trying to figure out how a single text manages to combine, tragic Native American history, deep Jungian psychology, and, wait for it, Tibetan mysticism.
All in one narrative.
All in one story. And somehow it makes it work.
It really does. It weaves them into a cohesive whole. It's incredible.
So give us the vibe check here before we get into the weeds. Is this just a fantasy novel? Is it historical fiction? Is it like a self-help book disguised as a dragon story?
Yeah. What is it?
What are we actually dealing with?
It's tricky to pin down, and that's what makes it so interesting. On the surface, yes, it totally reads like high fantasy. You've got magic, dragons, spirits, all that. But if you scratch that surface even a little bit, the text presents itself as a rigorous framework for what psychologists call individuation.
Individuation.
Oh.
Okay, that's a heavy term right off the bat. Let's unpack that.
It is, but think of it this way. Individuation is, it's the process of becoming a whole person. It's a concept from Carl Jung.
Okay.
It's about taking all the fragmented parts of your psyche, the parts you show the world, the parts you hide, the parts you're ashamed of, and integrating them into one unified self.
So the story is arguing that the main character, Blue Sun, is trying to heal a physical wound in the earth, but he finds out he can't do that until he heals himself first.
Exactly. The fracture in his own mind.
The classic as above, so below.
Precisely. But the above here involves dragons and star water, and the below involves a river of blood and some really deep historical trauma.
So let's start with our protagonist. Who or what exactly is Blue Sun? Because the text gets incredibly specific about his biology, if you can even call it that. He's not your average kid.
No, he certainly isn't. Blue Sun is described as a turquoise child, and this is where the history comes in heavy. The text explicitly states he is a boy of 11 or 12 years old. But here's the kicker. He is a boy who died during the outlawed ghost dance ceremonies.
Okay, we need to pause there. For anyone who might be a little rusty on their 19th century history, can we just clarify the ghost dance? That context seems vital here.
It's absolutely vital. So the ghost dance was a spiritual movement that swept through Native American tribes in the late 1800s. It was a prophecy, really.
A prophecy of what?
The belief was that if they performed this specific round dance, colonial expansion would end, the buffalo would come back, their ancestors would rise, and peace would be restored. It was a desperate, beautiful hope for a dying way of life.
And the U.S. government did not react well to it.
No, they viewed it as an uprising. They were terrified of it. They cracked down on it violently, which led to tragedies like the Wounded Knee Massacre. So when the text says Blue Sun died during these ceremonies, it's rooting his origin in this profound collective trauma.
So he isn't just a random ghost. He is a child of that specific tragic ending.
Right, but he's reborn, and this is where the description gets.
Well, surreal.
Not a zombie or something.
Yeah.
No, not at all. Not undead in the horror movie sense. We're told his body was formed by Mother Earth from black stone found in the Black Hills. And the text says this stone is for his protection.
Like armor. He's built like a tank.
Exactly. He's armored against a world that hurt him. But inside that stone armor, his blood isn't human. It's described as water from a sacred river on Venus.
At Venus, the planet.
The planet. And his eyes are described as mirrored reflections of the sun.
So let me get this straight. We have a protagonist who is part South Dakota granite, part alien water from Venus, and part ghost of a 19th century massacre. That is A very specific cocktail.
It's a lot of disparate elements, but think about the symbolism. Stone is permanence, memory, the earth itself. Venus, mythologically, is the morning star, right? Associated with bringing light or love. So you have this hard, defensive, unmoving exterior protecting something fluid, cosmic, and illuminated inside.
And just to keep us on our toes, the text throws in some Greek mythology too. It says he's an offspring of Apollo, but he dances with Dionysus at night.
Which is just a beautiful, poetic way of saying he balances order and chaos. Apollo is the god of light, reason, structure.
Right.
And Dionysus is the god of wine, madness, ecstasy, wild nature. Blue Sun straddles that line. He isn't just one thing. He holds that tension.
And that duality is crucial because of his specific role. The text distinguishes him from the big historical names in a really interesting way. It lists Sitting Bull as a holy man, Crazy Horse as a holy warrior, and Black Elk as a medicine man.
The heavy hitters.
Yeah, but Blue Sun, he's called a roadman. What is a roadman?
A roadman is a specific term from the Native American church. He is essentially a priest, someone who leads the ceremony. But the title roadman implies movement. It implies a path. He isn't just sitting in a temple. He is a guide for a specific journey.
He paves the way.
Exactly. And the text takes this a step further by introducing the concept of the talisman.
I love this definition. I always thought a talisman was just, a lucky coin or a rabbit's foot.
That's the common idea, a little trinket. But the source notes that the word comes from the Arabic tilsum and the Greek telein, meaning to complete or to initiate. And the text argues that a talisman isn't just an object. A human being, Blue Sun himself, can be a talisman.
What does that mean, exactly, that a person is a talisman?
It means his mere presence causes magical things to happen. He is a catalyst. When a chemical catalyst enters a reaction, it makes things change just by being there.
Ah, okay.
It facilitates a transformation that couldn't happen otherwise. Blue Sun is a walking, talking catalyst.
So he's a catalyst made of rock and Venus water. And he's been called to the Black Hills by Sitting Bull for a very specific job.
Sealing the gates of the Blood River.
This is the central conflict. And this is where the imagery shifts from, mystical to something really visceral and dark. The Blood River isn't just a scary name.
No, it's not a metaphor for a bad mood. The text describes it as a literal wound in Mother Earth. It says, quote, a wound in a living being. A wound that affected all living beings who lived and were born from her.
That paints a picture of the Earth, not as a rock floating in space, but as a biological entity that can actually bleed.
Exactly. It's a Gaia-centric view. If the Earth is alive, then history leaves physical scars on her body.
And the origin of this river. The text does not pull any punches here. It links it directly back to that historical trauma. It traces the river back to a scream.
A blood-chilled scream that was heard across the Dakotas when the nation was eradicated. The text uses this haunting phrase that really stuck with me. The primordial scream of innocence being slaughtered in the middle of a childhood dream.
Wow. That is incredibly dark. Innocence slaughtered in a childhood dream. It feels like the text is trying to capture the exact moment that hope died.
It sets the stakes. This isn't just about plugging a leak in a dam. It's about addressing a metaphysical injury caused by a historical atrocity. The wound is the lingering pain of that genocide.
It's trauma that hasn't healed.
Exactly. And the text presents some very disturbing antagonists here who are, keeping that wound open. It describes white ghosts or men blessed with a vision of manifest destiny.
Yeah, this part was surreal. It says, these figures carry silver chalices.
Right. The text describes men who drank that scream from chalices of blood sourced from this river. It's a grotesque image of consumption, isn't it? Consuming the pain of others to fuel this manifest destiny.
It's like an inversion of a holy sacrament. Instead of wine, it's pain.
Mm-hmm. And the text suggests that this trauma has created a demonic energy or an endless night. And this is why Sitting Bull needs Blue Sun. The regular holy men can't touch this stuff.
That's the implication, right? The source says Blue Sun has a unique ability to work with very powerful demonic energy.
Why him, Why not Crazy Horse, the holy warrior?
Because he's a child of that trauma. Remember, he died in the ghost dance. He's a turquoise child born from the end of the world. He understands the darkness in a way the others might not.
He isn't afraid of the night because he was forged in it.
He can navigate the dark because, in a way, he is made of it. So he's the specialist, hazmat team for spiritual trauma.
That's a great analogy. He can handle the toxicity.
But before he can fix the river, he has to undergo an initiation. He can't just walk up and start working. And this is where Crazy Horse steps in.
Right. Crazy Horse performs a ceremony, and in this ceremony, Blue Sun has to look into a mirror.
A mirror mandala, the text calls it. Now, usually when you look in a mirror, you expect to see your own face. But Blue Sun doesn't see a boy made of black stone.
No, he sees a dragon.
The dragon of the mountain meadow. And we have a visual for this in the source material, don't we?
We do. It's a striking image. It shows a blue dragon floating above water, surrounded by these stylized clouds. And the dragon is holding a white sphere, the mirror mandala or crystal ball in its claw. It looks serene, powerful, ancient.
And the twist, the real Luke, I am your father moment here, is that the dragon isn't a monster coming to eat him.
No, the dragon is Blue Sun.
That's a heavy realization for a 12-year-old. Surprise, you're actually a mythical reptile.
It's the pivotal moment of the text. The source says, upon looking into the mirror mandala, Blue Sun is introduced to himself for the very first time. This is where we fully enter the realm of Jungian psychology. This is the crux of the deep dive.
Let's unpack the Jung connection. You mentioned individuation earlier. How does seeing a dragon relate to psychology?
Well, Carl Jung believed that we all have a shadow. The shadow it's all the parts of ourselves we repress, hide, or deny: our anger, our primal power, our shame.
The stuff we don't like.
The stuff we don't like. And to become a whole person, to achieve individuation, you have to integrate that shadow. You have to face it and accept it. The text explicitly says Blue Sun is integrating the last of the archetypes in his shadow.
So the dragon represents his power, but maybe also the scary parts of himself he hasn't wanted to look at.
Exactly. I mean, think about his origin. He's a victim of a massacre. There's so much fear, shame, and helplessness locked in that identity. The dragon represents the power and fury that counterbalances that victimhood.
And the text notes that looking into the mirror allows him to look at himself without shame. That's a key phrase.
It's the key phrase. It mentions spending long periods of eloquent silence, looking at what he was afraid to look at his entire life. That's the work. You can't seal the blood river. You can't heal the world outside if you can't look at your own reflection without flinching.
That's profound. The mirror isn't about vanity, it's about confrontation. But the dragon isn't just a silent reflection, is it? It actually starts teaching him.
Yes, and this is where the cultural framework shifts again. We've gone from Native American history to Western psychology, and now we are taking a sharp left turn into Eastern mysticism. The dragon begins performing mudras.
Mudras, those are the hand gestures used in meditation, right? Like you see in statues of the Buddha.
Correct. The dragon gives Blue Sun a series of specific practices, and the text is very stern about this. It says these are mandatory. If he doesn't do them in the exact order, he will never even find the gate to the blood river.
It's like a security code. You have to input the right sequence to get access.
In a way, yes, it's a discipline. And there is a reason he needs this specific protection. The text introduces a new antagonist here, someone waiting for him. The Princess of the Damask Rose.
Which sounds like a fairy tale character, but I'm guessing she's not waiting to be rescued.
Far from it. She's described as the consort and teacher of all the great Mahasiddhas.
Okay, Mahasiddhas, that's another term we need to define. We're dropping a lot of vocabulary today.
I know, stick with me. In Tantric Buddhism, Mahasiddhas are great achievers, but they aren't your typical peaceful monks. Mahasiddhas were often rebels, eccentrics, people who lived in graveyards. They achieved enlightenment through unconventional, sometimes shocking means. They mastered the energy of the body and mind completely.
So they're like the special forces of Buddhism, the ones who go off the map.
That's a great way to put it. And the text lists specific names: Tilo, Marpa, Milo, and Naropa. These are legendary figures in Tibetan Buddhism. The text implies that Blue Sun has to use the 6 yogas of Naropa to seal the gates.
So let's just pause and look at the map we've drawn. We are physically in South Dakota. We're dealing with the ghost dance. But the healing method is an advanced yoga practice from the Himalayas. What do we make of that?
I don't think it's random. I think it speaks to the universal nature of the quest. The author seems to be suggesting that the tools for mastering the self are universal. Whether you're a roadman in the Americas or a yogi in Tibet, the mechanism is the same. You have to control your energy, face your shadow, and discipline your mind.
So trauma is universal, and the cure must be universal too.
Right. And the threat is real. The Princess of the Damask Rose sounds like a test. If he hasn't mastered these mudras, she, or what she represents, will stop him. It implies that spiritual power is dangerous. You don't just walk up to a wound in the earth and put a Band-Aid on it.
Right.
You are dealing with forces demonic energy, as the text calls it, that will consume you if you aren't disciplined.
That's why the dragon, the fully realized self, has to teach the boy. He's not going out to slay the dragon. He's going in to become the dragon so he can perform surgery on the landscape.
That is a beautiful way to put it. Performing surgery on the landscape. The story moves from the physical reality of the Black Hills to the internal reality of the psyche and then back out again.
The healing of the Blood River depends entirely on his internal work. It really makes you think about activism in a different light, doesn't it?
It does.
We often think about changing the world through external action protests, laws, and those are important. But this text argues that the most potent change comes from a place of deep internal integration.
Absolutely. If Blue Sun went to the river as just a boy, scared, fragmented, ashamed, he would fail. He would be consumed by that scream. He has to go as the dragon. He has to go as a being who has integrated his shadow.
So we've got a story that feels like a myth, but it hits on very real, very hard human experiences. Trauma, shame, the need to find out who you really are.
And the realization that who you really are might be something vastly more powerful and strange than you ever imagined.
Okay, let's try to wrap our heads around the big picture. We've covered Blue Sun's origin, his body of stone and blood of Venus water. We've talked about the wound of the Blood River, and we've looked at the solution, the mirror mandala, the dragon, and the yogas of Naropa.
It's a dense, rich tapestry. But if you strip away the fantastical stuff, the core message is incredibly grounding. It's about the necessity of facing the ugly parts of history and the scary parts of ourselves.
You can't heal the wound if you can't look at it.
Exactly. And you can't look at it if you don't know who is doing the looking. Blue Sun had to learn that he wasn't just a victim. He was also the dragon. He had agency. He had power.
And I think that's what makes the mirror mandala concept so sticky. It's not just a prop in a story. It's a challenge to all of us.
It is. It asks you, what would you see? If you looked into that mirror, past the face you show the world, past the shame, is there a dragon in there? And are you brave enough to let it teach you?
That's the question. And I want to leave everyone with one final thought from the text that really stuck with me. We mentioned it earlier, but it bears repeating. The dragon tells Blue Sun that the river of blood was made from the primordial scream of innocence being slaughtered in the middle of a childhood dream.
It's such a chilling line. It stays with you.
It does. But it makes me wonder, if the landscape in this story reflects our internal psychology, what rivers are we ignoring in our own psyches? What screams have we tried to silence, and what would it take to finally seal those gates?
That is something worth looking in the mirror for.
Definitely. Thanks for taking this deep dive into the mirror mandala with us. It's been a wild ride through the Black Hills and beyond. Go find your dragon, everyone. We'll see you next time.